Hey guys, this is Ike's with Rollout Reviews, bringing you another Bionicle review. This time it is the 2001 Turaga. I figured each and every one of these has a similar enough build that we'll cover all of them in a single review. We'll go into further detail, starting with Vakama, but from there we'll just highlight the differences that each of the others have. Vakama is set number 8540 and contains 28 pieces. He wears a noble Kanoe Huna, Mask of Concealment, which allows its user to remain invisible for a limited amount of time. This attaches to the underlying head, which is molded in red this time around, rather than the standard gray that all of the Toa use. The same part is used down below here, which is not only clever parts usage, but looks pretty cool as a foot. The leg can swing forward and back, albeit it's very squeaky on mine, and the body is made up of these standard lift arm pieces, maybe conveying the look of a robe of some sort. Now this arm here is on a pin axle. It can swing forward and back, but it's attached via a gray pin axle. If we learned anything from Toa Liwa, it means there's not a whole lot of friction going on here, unfortunately. Now, he's got this piece here sticking out of his back, and looped around it and his neck is a rubber band. When we bring this down, it lifts his arm up, and when we release, it swings his arm back down. Despite how small these guys are, they do have attack functions, albeit very weak attack functions, borderline useless in the Kanoe game, but they are there. Vakama is unique in the fact that his neck is longer than the rest of the Turaga. It has been extended by one here and uses a different connector piece. Despite him having the smallest variety of limbs, he is one of the taller of the Turaga because of that. His staff weapon has a very cool design, this fire staff. It's very similar in design to Toa Tahu's sword. I really like the design of this. Have I mentioned that? Speaking of Tahu, here is a quick comparison. On average, the Turaga come up to about the Toa's waist, which is a nice size. I think they look really well next to each other. It also makes the Toa look that much more impressive, despite how small the original Toa Mata are compared to many future Bionicle sets. It's nice to see they're at least taller than someone. Next up, we have set number 8541, Matau. He contains 25 pieces and wears a noble Kanoe Mahiki, Mask of Illusion, which allows its user to, simply enough, project illusions. This has always been a really silly looking mask to me. I'm not a huge fan of the design, probably my least favorite of the 6 Turaga masks. Of course, Matau is green this time around. His legs have been extended by one here with a bushing in the center, so they're a bit longer. His head attaches differently than any of the other Turaga. This piece is brought down and then slides into the back of the head instead of the bottom. This piece here is green, and the rubber band that allows the function loops up and over his neck, meaning it's a bit tighter and a bit more strong than some of the other Turaga. His staff is absolutely ridiculous and kind of awesome. It's this buzzsaw on a stick. Whatever the case, it's easily the least practical of the Turaga staves. Next up, we have set number 8542, Anywa. He contains 29 pieces and wears a noble Kanoe Komau, Mask of Mind Control, which allows its user to influence the minds of others. It also allows them to create mental pain in opponents. This mask, once again, is probably one of my least favorite of the 6 Turaga masks. I just think that circuitry detail that both this and the Mahiki had are pointlessly asymmetrical and don't really add to the design a whole lot. Of course, Anywa is brown and tan. His legs have been extended twice this time around, by two, and he has two bushings in the center. His legs are the longest of the bunch, and it makes him the tallest of the 6 Turaga. Back here, he has the little piece sticking out of his back, which supports the function. His neck is attached simply enough with one of those connector pieces, just pegged through the bottom of the head part, and his staff is just, well, a brown hammer, and there's not a whole lot I can say about it. It's a simple design, it looks fairly cool, and it certainly is a hammer. Next up, we have set number 8543, Nokama. She contains 27 pieces and wears a noble Kanoe Rao, Mask of Translation, which allows its user to interpret any languages or symbols. Nokama's legs are the smaller variety, very similar to Turaga Vakama, making her pretty short. She has the piece sticking out of her back, supporting the function, and her head attaches in the same way as Anywa's. Of course, however, her arms are extremely long, to a ridiculous degree. Very similar to Anywa's legs, they have been extended by 2, and I'm not a huge fan of the way this looks, especially when she holds her trident weapon here. It always just looks awkward, way too far forward. Her trident is simple enough, I suppose. There's not a whole lot of detail going on there, but I suppose it's a fairly good-looking trident. Next up, we have set number 8544, Newjoo. He contains 29 pieces and wears a noble Kanoe Matau, Mask of Telekinesis, which allows its user to move objects with their mind. Looks very cool. Definitely one of my favorites from 2001, and absolutely my favorite of the 6 Turaga masks. Of course, Nuju is white and gray. However, his build is probably the middle ground among all of the Turaga. His legs have been extended by 1, and his arms have been extended by 1, making him probably the most balanced of the group. The piece on his back works the same as all of the others, swinging his arm up and down, and his neck attaches in the same way as Nokama and Anywa's. His weapon is this ice pick. A very, very long ice pick, but an ice pick nonetheless. In the story, Newjoo is a little bit different in the way that he doesn't speak MaTauran like the rest of the island. For some reason, concerning a twisted philosophy about not wasting words, he instead speaks in clicks and whistles, the language of the bird Rahi, at the inconvenience of everyone else. Because of this, he has an interpreter in the form of a MaTauran MaTaura. Now, I'd say that if you're gonna get Newjoo, MaTaura is an absolute must because of this. This is also an excuse to show off a comparison of the villagers and the elders of those villages. They look pretty good together and I think scale very well. Last but not least, we have set number 8545, Whenua. He contains 28 pieces and wears a noble Kanoe Ruru, Mask of Night Vision, which allows its user to see clearly in darkness. Now, of course, Whenua has a very different build than the rest of the Turaga. He's much smaller. Not only are his legs and arms the shortest variety, but his head this time attaches to the torso instead of where it usually does. Very similar to his respective Toa. While he technically has the same amount of mass as the rest of the Turaga, it definitely makes it feel like you're getting a lot less with this guy. He's just so tiny. Of course, his function wouldn't work properly unless there was something for the rubber band to loop around. So he has this connector piece up top. It's a little bit unsightly, but it's better than it could have been. His staff is similarly ridiculous to Matau's, but not quite. I really love the look of this design. It's kind of a drill staff, and that is kind of awesome. The Turaga are the wise leaders of the island. They're also the elders of their respective villages. And that's all you really need to know, because now that I think about it, that's all we really know about them. Oh well, they're probably not important. I mean, what logical reason could they have for keeping any secrets from us for the past 1,000 years? I mean, if they were anything important, they would have told us by now. Right? Anyway, that is about it, guys, and this is IX Roll at IX, signing off.